Good afternoon. My name is Julian Gatewood, and I would like to share with you my own personal experience about the past events I attended. Um, a quick little rundown. The past events I attended were one was I went to church um, a couple weeks ago. I went to the Lincoln Lodge. That was last month. And another event that I attended, a Twitch stream event, was a Twitch stream by the name of T Banks. He's fairly new, well, at least new to me, but he is one of my favorite Twitch streamers as of recently. But without further ado, just quickly get into it. With the first event I attended, which was church. Um, First off, a little background. I don't want to say I grew up in a church, but I kind of did. Both of my parents grew up in a church, especially my dad, with him being a minister of music. So whenever he went to church, I was there. But as I got older, I kind of drifted away from it. Still maintained some spirituality, but kind of just stopped going as much as I used to. But when I went this past time, there was a lot I noticed and paid attention to, especially from the viewpoint of judging by his public speaking skills. And there are a lot of tidbits and I would say gestures that he made that basically made him stand out because he was very he used his hands a lot, and in the past, not a lot of preachers that I've witnessed use too much of their hands, but they're very their eye contact, that's typically what they use in my personal experience. But this preacher was different. He was very handsy. He used a lot of gestures, like doing stuff like this, and when he was explaining something, he was typically kind of wafting his hand like you're trying to smell something. But yeah, he was very comfortable with using his hands. His delivery methods were very stern and very like to the point. Like he projected very well. He he projected very well, and when he got to his point, it was very easy to understand. So I would say he's very articulate, and yeah, he made it overall easy for his theme to be understood. Also, I think he was very fluid with his sermon. He wasn't like jumbling over words. He was very consistent, and he maintained a certain pace. If I had to compare it to anybody, it would be kind of like a Barack Obama type pace, where he speaks and he kind of gives a little brief pause to kind of catch up and let the audience gather in the information he spoke. But yeah, overall, it was a very good sermon. But yeah, I would say the best thing that stood out was his pace and his consistency throughout the sermon. The next live event that I attended was last month. I'm gonna say the 14th. Yeah, November 14th. I went to the Lincoln Lodge, and it was my first time being at a comedy club, and when I got there, it was very unassuming. When I got there, it kind of took me by surprise by how close I sat to the stage. I was basically able to rest my feet on the stage, which was kind of new, and I kind of didn't know what to expect. I was a little nervous because there are times where the comic will basically pick on or talk about certain audience members, and I was praying that it wasn't me. But overall, I really enjoyed it because they involved the audience, but not in the way that I thought it was going to be. They only involved the audience when they asked a question or typically, or at the end, for example, when they were giving out prizes for people sharing certain stories that revolved around one of the comics stand-up times, I guess what you can call it. Also, besides them being very in tune with the audience, I noticed a lot of them used the mic stand a lot. Like one person, I think his name was Matthew, he rested on it, and it was kind of like a crutch, but I guess it kind of helped him maintain comfortability while he was on stage. And I could understand it because I kind of would have probably did the same thing. Like having something to rest on, or having something in your hand or sitting down or something like that will definitely make you feel more comfortable, especially in a room that small. I would say the room is probably 30 feet by 30 by 40, so it wasn't enormous, but it was definitely close. Like most of the people right next to me were, I could literally bump shoulders with them. Like that's how close we were. But I didn't feel uncomfortable with it. It was very very comfortable. But I will say some of the comics weren't really my cup of tea, and that's just the type of humor I have. I have a little bit of a dark humor, is what I've been told, and some of them definitely alluded to that part of me. Definitely made me laugh, especially Matthew. He's the one I remember. But yeah, he was. They did pretty well at the Lincoln Lodge. Definitely something I would recommend to certain people. I wouldn't recommend to everybody just on how I know their humor is like. But yeah, overall, the Lincoln Lodge was pretty fun. I would definitely go back. No time soon because one, I don't live out there, but I'd say it's definitely worth it, time and money. Also another thing I noticed with the Lincoln Lodge, with comics, some people, it was hard for them to make eye contact. It was, I forget his name. I want to say Garrett or some. I think his name was Garrett. I don't think he looked at the audience once. Like his eyes were like at the back ceiling or something. Like he was struggling to look at us. And I think that just came with nervousness, but I could understand it. But at the same time, I think he would have done a little bit better job appealing to the audience if he looked at us, because it was kind of hard to, one, pay attention and like stay interested when his material isn't your cup of tea. Also, when he's not looking at the audience at all. But yeah, that was the main takeaway that I would say that could be improved on for most of them. But overall, yeah, like I said before, the Lincoln Lodge was definitely a good experience, and I would do it again. Now transitioning to the next live event I did, it was a Twitch stream. A fairly new Twitch streamer by the name of T Banks. Well, he's new to me. I don't know if he's new on the scene, but I found him on TikTok, and me and a lot of my friends, we send his TikToks back and forth because they're probably, in my honest opinion, he's carrying TikTok. At least my side of TikTok. He's probably the best out there when it comes to Twitch streamers, even more so than Kai Cenat, and he's pretty big. But yeah, T Banks, he's definitely he's definitely up there, and he knows how to make people laugh. I will say the biggest thing with him is that he does his voice in 2x speed, so his voice is kind of sped up, but it sounds sped up, but the pace is at a normal consistency, I would say. So it's basically like he's speaking in a chipmunk voice. Yeah, he's basically speaking in a chipmunk voice. But yeah, his delivery is crazy. Like, he really makes you feel like you're experiencing everything he's talking about right then and there. Like, when he talks about something, it's kind of like you're literally just sitting there from behind the scenes and just watching it happen. One of the stories he talks about is if he caught his significant other cheating on him, and he said, "If I catch my girlfriend cheating on me in the house I pay for, in the bed I sleep in," he talking about, "I'm coming out with an AA-12 with a switch," and the AA-12 is a very powerful firearm, and a switch is a mechanism that you attach to a gun, attached to a firearm, that makes it automatic. So, like a rifle, where you can just hold down the trigger and it just shoots relentlessly, that's what a switch does to semi-automatic firearms. What else? He's very animated. Yeah, very, very animated. His facial expressions are top tier, and I won't say they're hard to describe. It's just when he's talking, it's just like you're kind of like he kind of captures his audience. Like, his body language is kind of all over the place, but that's what makes it funny. Um, what else? Yeah, his body language is one of the best I've seen. His speaking style, like I said before, with the Alvin and the Chipmunk voice, I think with that voice alone is kind of what's propelling him, and that's what makes it more funny. He does do Twitch streams with his actual normal voice, but it's still kind of it's not the same. Like, yeah, you can kind of capture what, like, the same vibe from when he does his the Alvin and the Chipmunks voice, but yeah, it's not the same when he does his regular voice. Yeah, it's still funny, and he still like captures the audience, like I said before. But it's something about that Alvin and the Chipmunk voice, especially when he does it. It's top tier comedy. Another thing I would point out with T Banks is what else would I say? I don't know. I don't know what I would critique him on. No, what I would critique him on his when he switches back and forth between topics. It's like he's on one story, and then he'll segue into another story, and then he'll find his way back to another one. And yeah, I would say if he could kind of stay on the same topic for the most part and then drift over, that would be my biggest critique. But even then, that's kind of part of who he is. That's kind of part of the comedy, I would say, that he brings. But yeah, it wasn't much that I would critique him on. But in relation to the class, I relate this to the class because whenever he's on Twitch, or at least whenever I see him, and this is on his live streams or when I'm on TikTok and I see him, his past live streams, he's always himself. And like, you can, and like, you always know what you're gonna get. Like, it's gonna be a lot of hand gestures, animation, emotion, and that's one of the biggest things I've learned from this public speaking class. That whenever you're speaking in front of people, you always have to be yourself, because after a while people can tell when it's not truly you, and then when it's not truly you, it kind of feels phony, kind of feels fake, and people really aren't gonna take what you say and actually listen to it and listen to it and intake it, I guess. Yeah, they won't. It'll be hard for them to really stay interested if it's not you. Going back to the Lincoln Lodge, the takeaway is that whenever you're standing, you really have to make eye contact with your audience, and that was one of the things I pointed out with one of the comics. I think I said his name was Garrett. How he never looked at the audience, and that kind of disengaged a lot of us for the most part, especially me. And I did glance around the room, and I did see some other people kind of off, like staring off or not really engaged to what he was saying. Not to say it wasn't funny, but like I've learned these past 15 weeks, you have to be able to engage your audience, and eye contact is one of the biggest things. Like I said, if you're not looking at your audience, they're kind of just gonna drift off, and like, especially if they have their phone, they'll probably go right back to this if you're not looking at them, because eye contact is really engaging, and that kind of keeps the audience interested into what you're saying. Going back to church and how that relates, like I said, with the hand gestures, the tone, the emotion, the conviction of what the pastor was speaking with, you have to, I want to say, change your tone based on what you're speaking about. Because if you're speaking about something more emotional, or at least something more close to home, may not necessarily be emotional, you kind of have to give off that sincere and empathetic tone of voice, and that'll help your audience kind of relate, or at least empathize with you, like empathize and sympathize. That's also a big part, because if you kind of just bland and dry and kind of just say things like a robot, like I'm speaking to you like this, and then this is that, this, like, if you don't have any emotion and tone of like the correct tone of voice for what you're speaking with, it's not gonna be perceived and taken in as well as you would like it to be. And that's one of the biggest things I've learned, because one of my biggest, I would say, I don't want to say downfalls, but one of my weaknesses that has been in the past that I've learned to fix since taking this class is speaking in the correct tone of voice. I used to kind of be very bland and dry, and I don't want to say it cost me anything, but it definitely is. I would say I haven't gotten as far as I probably could have been, based on just how I've spoken about things. And that's like just like with relationships with people that I have around me, not necessarily in like a job or anything. But yeah, overall, this public speaking class is definitely definitely one of my favorite classes, if not my favorite class that I've taken in college, actually. Because it's by no means easy, especially me. I'm a reserved, laid back person. I'm never going to be the first person to talk. If I am, it's rare. Overall, this class definitely taught me a lot about myself. It helped me to be more courageous. Just getting out there and talking. Like, I know, like, there's an old saying, once you get up there, just picture everybody naked. I didn't do that, but I kind of just kept the mindset of no one really cares. Like, everybody is nervous about something, and I just happen to be nervous about this. So I have to do my best to make the best of it. But yeah, this class definitely taught me a lot. It also taught me to improvise. I will say, on some of my speeches, I definitely did improvise because I didn't practice as much as I should have or as much as I wanted to. Just just being a college student, sometimes life happens and you can't do everything like you have planned. But yeah, I would say besides the speaking in the right tone and relating everything to my audience, learning to improvise has definitely been one of the biggest takeaways from this class. And I want to shout out my teacher, Nikki Neagle. Definitely one of the best teachers I've ever had. Great teacher. I would definitely recommend her to a lot of my friends. She may come off as, I don't know, like, I don't even know, I can't even say what she would come off as, because when I met her, I thought she was just this cool, down to earth, not taking any bullshit teacher. And that's what I kind of like, because I'm kind of the same way. I don't really take any bullshit. My tolerance is low for that. And I think that's why we got along so well. But yeah, overall, like, yeah, Nikki, definitely one of the best teachers I've had. And if I can, hopefully somebody drops the film studies class next semester so I can get in and have her again as a teacher. And that's pretty much all I have for my personal events that I've attended. And I hope to see Nikki next semester in the spring. Thank you.